Hello everybody and welcome back to Micronova Metals. Today we have a Karat Scrap project to work on. There's also some gold fill in this, and the gold fill actually was stamped 12K over 925 sterling. So we had, you'll see it in the pictures at the beginning of this video, but we had 15.83 of 14K material of Karat Scrap, 17.74 of 10K Karat Scrap, and 13.47 of 12K gold filled over sterling. Out of that, approximately 11.25 grams from the 14K, 9 grams from the 10K, and out of the gold filled about 0.35 grams. And so what I've done is I've encorded this with some sterling silver that was provided by the same client. That's another project that I've got to get going soon, and I've encorded it with the sterling silver, bringing the level down to at least 6K. We're going to start off by doing a nitric boil, and here's the gold that's encorded with silver. And so nitric boils till we get no more reaction, and that's going to dissolve out all base metals, all silver, all copper, or anything else that's in there that is not gold, and we'll be left with these dark brown nuggets, and we'll start making our way towards getting this into 3/9 fine or better bullion. So stick with me. I'm going to start off by covering this up with distilled water. Always distilled water when you're working with gold. And that will be enough there. I'm going about ½ an inch above where the encorded gold is sitting there. And I am going to start off with about 40 milliliters of red fuming nitric acid. This is acid that I make myself, and it's about a 95% concentrate. And this will get us well along the way. It won't be enough, but we will add to it in small doses from this point on. That way we don't end up with a bunch of acid we have to denox. This is reacting immediately with the water and also with the silver. I mean, it's kicking off as it is. It's going to go up here right now. I have several pieces of Corningware that I could put this in, but this one is great for containment for a project this size. Okay, it's only 5 minutes into the reaction, so we can get close enough to show you what's going on. Yeah, nice, healthy, vigorous, but not crazy reaction. And the heat from the hot plate has barely even made it to it. I didn't activate the heat until it was already on there. So we are off to a very positive, healthy, methodical start, and we'll just carry on like that from here on. Okay, it's been about an hour, and I am just checking on this to see exactly what's going on. Looks like the reaction has died down. I can see it's a very nice clear solution. Actually, you guys can see it, and I can tell from the camera you can see it as well. And I am going to refresh this with the acid. I'm going to put in another 20 mLs. And what I like to do is to put it in a beaker like this, and that enables me to bring it and the pipette right up. And you know what? I'm going to put the watch glass back on it because that's what I intended to do in the first place. Get this turned around. And the whole point of doing this is so that I can pipe it in keep the fumes that start where they belong, which is inside the reaction vessel, and put this little beaker up here and the pipette up here. And if any of my shakiness or clumsiness causes me to lose a few drops from the pipette, it will go either into the beaker or into the mini beaker. And this immediate reaction shows you that the base metals are not out. I did do the math on how much silver was needed. I don't remember how much it was because I did it last night, but I always do an excess. There's no harm in an excess of ink quarting. It is counterproductive to not put enough in. Almost there. That is about it. Okay. I really do want to squirt down those edges so you guys can see what's going on in there. There we go. The tension from the chemical reaction causes that residue to go up, but you can see it's rocking and rolling pretty good in there. Actually, I think I'm going to give it some hydration. Now that I'm thinking of it, that's not a lot of liquid to have a lot of silver go into solution. We were close, just not quite enough. There we go. Okay, back in business. Okay. Been dosing off and on, off camera, and the solution's getting pretty dark in there. I added some water earlier, as you saw, but I may have to add some more. I'm going to let this reaction die down, and maybe in an hour or so, just decide to add some more hydration. Not a lot, just enough to make sure it keeps rocking and rolling. Alright, it looks like our reaction has lost some of its momentum. And it could be that base metals are dissolved, but I highly, highly doubt that. So let's lift our watch glass real quick. I'm going to release the nitric oxide gases. And see what we got for production. And I don't see a lot. There is nothing immediate and strong going on right now. So let's give it just a small dose of nitric, and when we get that reaction, we will we'll know it just needs more hydration and more nitric. All right, let's see if that stirs things up a little bit. Alright, I don't see a lot going on. So, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add more hydration to it, which is going to cool it down real quick. But that will give a place for the base metals and silver to go into solution. And now, let's give it some nitric. It's about 20 mLs right now. And let's get it into action here. go, almost there. And then once we get this in, we're just going to watch it for a minute or two. Okay, that's the 20 mLs right here, right now. And let's give this watch glass a little spray, because I know I hit it with nitric directly a couple times. There we go. Alright, we're off. We'll watch it for a little bit, see what happens. Okay, so I see little to nothing happening in there, and I'm not concerned. I just think that maybe the reaction was over. So we may have already had an excess of nitric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some of the sterling items that were in the same customer's sterling batch and put it in there to denox in the event that there is, which means we're going to get a reaction pretty quick if there's something in there. Just a little souvenir spoon. I'm just giving this a thought, like how much do I have in there in volume and acid, and we should be okay. Now, if that triggers a reaction and we have excess, and there it goes, right there. Look at that. Yeah, there's no stir bar in there. It's just, so we're going to have to use his sterling to denox. And once we are done with that reaction, then we can decant and just move along in the process. So actually, this is a good thing. Put a little more in as well. This is the handle to a sterling. What was it? Actually, I don't know, because this is how it came. Although it still had the brass structure rod in it, and it had cement in it. So that's a very thin piece, and it's reacting quick. So we're going to watch that for a second. I'm actually going to decap my rinse bottle and be ready if I have to quench that with cold water. Because this is what I don't like right here. Alright, looks like we're staying in the safe zone. It's not even been 30 seconds, but this is something you don't see every day. Oh, did it just... No, there it is. The knife is floating on top of the... it's dissolving very quickly, but it was... I guess I just missed it, but the handle was floating on top of the suds. So, yeah, we got some denoxing to do. And you can see it right here. It's really going for it now. Okay, so that has stabilized. And not that I'm into playing games, but I'm going to add some more denoxing pieces. This is very thin. I'm going to put those right in there. And we're going to watch it. He likes it, I can tell you that. Man, too much acid. We were right there. We were right there. But rather than waste the nitric when I have all kinds of sterling to do for this same client. Let's do this instead. It makes sense to me. Okay, so learning opportunity here. What you're looking at is a delayed reaction with a quantity of sterling silver I just put in there. So far, it's controllably stable right now. It is on the brink. If I put something else in there, it would be very, very stupid on my part. But I still have this water, which is very cold, and I can kill that reaction in a heartbeat. And put enough water in there so it will dilute that acid and it won't be able to act so vigorously. So we are on the border of control, which is not where we want to be, but this is where we're at. So I'm standing right here and I'm watching it. Okay, here we are, I don't know, 2 minutes later, and that has completely stabilized down there. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to monitor it and let the camera run for a few minutes, but I don't see anything squirrely happening at this point. So I'm very confident that we're not even, it's not really even a vigorous reaction. It's just, it's alive, it's healthy, it's steady. So we're in a safer zone at this point. Okay, yes, we have a reaction going on. I'm gonna check for, that's probably still quite a bit. Let's see. Yeah, that kind of populates very quickly. I am going to add more. There we go. Something light and airy. There must not be an awful lot left of those spoons that I put in, or it's just much less reactive. That was light and airy, so it's going to dissolve very quickly. I have to imagine that I think that was a set of earrings I just put in there, or one side. I put the match to that in earlier. And I've got a little ring right here. I think I'm going to add that to the mix. I'm going to change my glove too, because these are oh, not latex gloves, what do they call them? Vinyl. And I use these because, especially with the acid that I make, if I get that acid on them, it could just burst into flames immediately if I were using nitrile gloves. So we're not going to do that. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a floater. There's that ring floating around on the sides, just taking the nitric acid, right? The ring is on acid, I suppose. That's way funnier to me than you guys. I'm tired. We're going to keep watching it. Okay, so our reaction has died down, but certainly not dead. And I am wondering at this point, even though we're making fumes, if we are getting to the point where we have maximum saturation. So this is just 100 ml of distilled water. I'm going to add it in. There is a potential that it could trigger a reaction if the metals are just kind of laying in wait, surrounded by a bunch of acid, but have no room to go into solution. So I'm going to watch it for a couple minutes and see if a reaction starts again, and monitor the vigorousness of it, and maybe add some more sterling in. Maybe not. Maybe we're done at this point. Okay, it looks like I was on to something there. Got the reaction going stronger now. It's got a hot spot down there probably from the carrot nuggets. But regardless, I had turned the heat up to get this going faster to get my answer, and I just turned it back down to a medium. But yeah, we still have excess nitric. I also know that I could just stop this right now, pour it off, and use that excess nitric later down the road. But I'm here right now, and I'm still getting some of that same work done. So I'm happy with it. I wish I'd had my notepad here like I normally do to keep track of how much nitric I put in there, and I would have realized I was far in excess. But again, here we are, and we're actually doing fine regardless. It appears that all of the nitric has been spent. We are now just boiling. I'm going to lift this up real quick and see if there's any bubbles being made that would indicate that the nitric boil lives on. Put it down here on this to cool down. There we go. All right, I see no evidence whatsoever of any more production of fumes or any bubbles from this. So I'm just trying to decide how far to take this tonight. I mean, I could leave this here, go eat a little more dinner, and you can see here the sterling that's left in here. Oh, and I can see the nuggets down here too. Can you guys see that? Oh yeah, right there. Look at all the gold nuggets. I love it. I'm so excited. Silver's my passion, but gold is my new oh, I don't know if I want to say favorite, but it's novelty to me, because it's become so expensive. It's unobtainium. So when I can work for a client who, you know, wants to have gold in their portfolio, they want the physical metal, and as a toll refiner I get a small percentage of the refined yield, and I can, for the first time, steadily accumulate gold a couple grams at a time. I'm pretty happy about that. So alright, so we are at a pretty substantial point here. I'm going to let this cool down tonight, go eat some dinner, and I believe that I'm going to come back down tonight and pull out the sterling, decant, or maybe even go ahead and just filter this. Maybe I'll just go ahead and filter this and get it ready for a silver chloride conversion, which I can do tonight, so we'll have all night to settle. So yeah, I think that's the plan. I'll get that much done. Alright, we'll see you soon. Okay, so we're in a good spot. I've got our reaction vessel here. It's pretty much neutral with acid. I've got a pre-wetted filter in this. So we're just going to get to the business of decanting this off, removing the sterling that has not been dissolved, and then getting the gold nuggets into a hot water bath, and boil rather, and then hydrochloric acid boil, but I don't know how far we'll get tonight. One thing at a time. Nothing good happens fast when you're refining. So far so good. Everything's going pretty smooth. Filtration is complete. There is some silver that cemented out, but a lot of that's just scunge from the furnace. My electric furnace that I use to burn off any grease and any other junk from sterling silver usage or whatever it may be. It's just an incineration. It gets all the oils off so they don't complicate my process. And in here we have our gold nuggets, which are very, very close to being pure gold as they are. And what survived out of everything I put in there is this sterling spoon here, which you can see from my gloves. Some has cemented out onto it. And there's another one right there. That Denox thing, I will tell you what, that ate some silver. So what's left is what's in here. And I gotta get this cleaned up, but I think what I'm gonna do is just put it into this smaller beaker. And I'm gonna get ready to start doing some hot water rinses, hot water boil, hydrochloric acid boils, and I'm up, I'm wide awake. It's past 10 o'clock right now in the evening, but I'm motivated, so I'm not sure how far I'm going to take this, but I'm going to get a few things cleaned up. We're going to do this on camera. We're going to drop out the silver. Oh, little tiny little piece left in there. We want it all. There we go. Okay. One thing at a time. Let's get this out of the way. Just a single filtration. And this should be quite heavy on silver. It's only a 1 liter beaker, but man, there is some silver in there. A lot more than there should be, really. But hey, it was a long day. I started this project later than I wanted to. Tried to speed date it. Had one lapse of attention. And nothing disastrous. It's just out of my normal process to not have things written down, so I follow an exact procedure. Alright, I changed the point of view just a little bit so you guys can see this better. So we have our solution. This should be silver rich, and our hydrochloric acid concentrated, and we are going to convert what is now silver and copper nitrate into silver chloride, and the copper will be left behind in the solution. There we go. I'm not done yet. I mean, look at that. I mean, that's an awful lot to have in this tiny little beaker. I may need to add some water to it, get the full conversion done. I don't even have a good guess for how much silver is in here because I didn't weigh it as I put it in. That is one densely packed beaker. I think I am going to add some water. We're not going to run out of space for growth here. There we go. Shouldn't be done yet. Well, maybe we are done. Okay, well, right on time, I suppose. Okay. And there we go. Adding that water, loosen it up a little bit. This silver chloride does not act like a sponge, I can tell you that. The longer it sits, the more it actually presses fluid out of its mass, and it gets tighter and tighter and tighter, to the point when I'm actually doing hot water rinses to get rid of the copper nitrates out of here, the volume decreases a lot. So this will reduce to at least half of this, and I have to work hard to keep it stirred up enough to get hot water into it and actually do proper cleaning on it. So I've got this going on. I'm going to put a little splash of hydrochloric acid in there. I've got this one rinse bottle I keep just for things like this to make sure if there's any left in there to be converted, that would be more than enough to show evidence of it, but it's not. Okay, so we're going to get this out of harm's way. Let's try not to break a stick today. We have a graveyard of broken glass sticks that I actually do make use of. Alright, let's get this somewhere. Let's see, containment for everything, ideally. Alright, we'll get this tucked away in here. There's no harm in it sitting in there. Man, that's a heavy. In your mind, it doesn't make sense, but it's silver. It's going to be heavy. Okay, and we can turn our attention back to our gold here, and let's do some hot water rinses to get it cleaned up. Some swirls, some swishes. There are some very small pieces of imported. Well, it's no longer imported, is it? But there are some very small pieces of this gold shot now, so I want to be careful not to lose those. I don't want this silver chloride following it down to the refining either, so I'm not something I usually have to deal with, but there are pieces so small in here that pardon me, I don't want to lose them to a rinse container. Alright, let's see if we can get this cleaned up. We can handle any silver chloride that precipitates out later on. It's just not the ideal. Okay, and there's definitely some there. I guess if I wasn't so tired, I'd been on my game, I'd have been putting this in the same container I just dropped silver chloride out in, right? And I'll remember that for the next couple steps, but for now, we have so many rinses that I feel confident that it will all come out. This is already hot. And back to home sweet home it's gonna go. For those of you thinking about doing this, this is borosilicate glass, and it says right on the box when these arrive that the outside of the beaker should not be wet on a hot surface, because it'll start to vibrate, you know, like that, and whatever the dynamics are, it will shatter that glass under the correct situations. Well, they're incorrect really, aren't they? Alright, but anyway, we're going to boil this decant it off and just start moving along the process. Alright, well, our gold nuggets have had at least 5 minutes boiling, so they're coming off for a little bit. They do look a little cleaner, but it's the next step that's gonna change it quite noticeably. And is that a little piece of silver in there? That's a little silver scrap right there. I'm gonna have to fish that out. All right. All right, and this is at this point going to be the decanting container for the rest of the process. It'll catch anything that I don't want truly leaving the process. Get that bent hood started. Just to get rid of the steam. Okay, there we go. Now let me see if I can fish that out real quick. Okay, we've got it. I'm just going to go ahead and put that back in the crucible that the rest of the sterling is waiting in. Alright, we are going to go ahead and give this its first of many hydrochloric acid boils. It's just up to the 100 mil line. You know what, I'm going to go a little higher on the first one. There's more gunk that comes out on the first couple boils. There we go. I like that. And you will see on the first boil change of color of these gold nuggets as the contaminants get removed. And then you will see on the second boil the decanted chemical will be much cleaner. All kinds of things in the way here, don't I? Okay, it is what it is for right now. Alright, boiling away there for a solid 10 minutes, which was longer than needed to be, but no harm done. Get this on over here. And we're going to give it a quick decant into here. So just pay attention to the yellow color there, because that's about to change with the next one, because this is just rinse number 1. So it's a decant and then hot water rinses. Just go slow, smooth as fast, you know, all that jazz, and it stops the nuggets from quickly traveling into your decanting station. I'll be right back with some hot water. I can see little particles of silver chloride travel down the pipe there. That's good. It's going to precip out anyway. After I do my aqua regia, we'll catch it in a filter on the very first filtering. All right. Starting to see on those nuggets the color is changing from that dark brown to some of them have a caramel color, or bits and pieces of it are caramel. Okay. I think one more, then we're going to give it another hydrochloric acid boil. The more time we spend right here, the more pure it will be down the line. And although this will be twice refined, I'm not going to depend upon, you know, the very end to clean everything up. That doesn't make any sense at all. I mean, you don't let contaminants follow you down the line of progress. You get rid of them as soon as you can. All right, yeah, that's looking like a really nice clean rinse right there. Okay, very, very good. Alright, some more hydrochloric acid. This is what? Number... Holy smokes, I've forgotten. What is it? Number 2. Man, I don't feel tired, but it's maybe I'm more tired than I realize. Okay, look at this back over here. Oh, I don't like that sizzle. Okay, that's why we have containment. It's just an insurance. All right, so hydrochloric acid boil number whatever. I'm going to check the video after I hit the stop button here, and it should be cleaner. So I think this is going to be number 2. Okay, we've got a hard boil going on here, and most of the yellow color is gone. So we're really just looking at one more boil on top of this one, and maybe we didn't even necessarily have to do that, but we're going to. Turn down the heat for temporarily here, and I am feeling confident that with this next boil, which will be number 3, that is more than ample. So let's take a look at this. Actually, it's quite clear, but I'm going for it. I'm going for high purity here on a. So let's decant off here. I can see a slight yellow tinge, and that's what I'm hoping the next boil gets rid of. Let's take a look at it. Okay. All right, let's go grab our hot water real quick. right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this accomplished, and then I'm going to do the next series of boils and rinses off camera. And at that point, I mean, we're going to be ready for Aqua Regia here real soon. So, okay, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm going to continue on doing rinses and boils, and we'll meet back again when it's time to go to Aqua Regia. All right, that was hydrochloric acid boil number 3, and just looking at the acid itself, it's really just clear as water. So I am going to go ahead and decant it off into here, and then proceed to do hot water rinses, which I will do off camera. All right. Yep, looking very, very clear. Okay, very good. I'll be back with you shortly. Okay, well, moving right along here. We are going to go into Aqua Regia at this point. Got my concentrated hydrochloric acid. Aqua Regia is a 3-to-1 ratio of hydrochloric acid to nitric acid. So I am going to fill this up to almost a 100 milliliter line. And instead of going right ahead and putting every bit of nitric acid that I think I'm going to need in that, I'm going to dose it in so that we don't end up having to denox this thing heavily, because we don't want to do that. Okay, so I've got geez, what was it? An expected yield of about 18 to 20 grams. I think, let's say 19. I am going to go ahead and put in only 10 mil of acid, of nitric acid. That's 4. You know what? Let's do 8. It's already reacting. Can you see the bubbles? Let's see. What is that? 3? Well, that's about 3.5 right there. And I'm going to hold off a little bit. I don't even think that was 8. The other thing we're going to do is we're going to put in a little concentrated sulfuric acid, H2SO4. And the reason why we do that at this point is to precipitate out any lead. And it doesn't take a lot. This is just a couple mil right here. Slow. Go slow. I don't want to splatter on you. Okay. Back up onto the hot plate, and this I do not believe is going to take very long at all. And I'm going to try to position the camera so you can see it all. All right, we've got this on medium heat. I'm just going to let the camera run. Maybe I can elevate it just a little bit more. Go. I can find a clear spot in my plexiglass. All right, so I'm going to let it run and shut my yip and just let it do its thing. Okay, so that reaction is largely over. I'm just going to release the gas real quick and inspect what we have going on here. What do we got? All right, we still have some dissolving going on there. So back in it goes. I'm going to give it some more hydrochloric acid for hydration. And we'll just, as long as we got a reaction going, we'll just let it go. If I got to add a little more nitric to it, I can do that too. Okay, there we are. Oh, I forgot this. There we go. All right, we'll see if this is going to require introduction of any more nitric. Let's see. Yeah, I can see residue on there, but I want to see if a reaction kicks off after adding more hydrochloric acid and hydration. All right, it looks to me like our reaction is greatly slowed down, if not dead. So I'm going to pipe in just another 4 milliliters. And get it into our aqua reject. I'm going to do no more until the reaction dies down. After that, that should be all that's needed to get us really close to finished. I can see it. I don't know. Can you see that on camera? Yeah, see the nuggets down there. Let me see if I can get a bit better picture of them. Just kind of see them clustered up like there. So, all right. Okay, so we are at the point where we're doing our second filtering. And filter got plugged on the first run with things that carried over from quench pot and silver chloride, a couple things like that. Plugged it up perfectly for our intents and purposes, and now we have a brilliant clear solution there. It's dilute. I denoxed it, forgot to get it on camera. And so we are about to have a ferrosulfate drop. I'm just getting all the color out of this filter right here. And then I got a little sloppy and put some solution right there by accident, so I'll be cleaning that up too. Alright, I've had to move this over into a bigger beaker and get ready to do a ferrous sulfate drop. Solution's looking really good, but I needed space inside the beaker. Alright, we'll do an SMB drop on the final one. good. Alright, now let's see, how can I position this so you guys can see it? I guess that's just going to have to do right there. And everybody's going to want to see the stance test. Alright, so let's do that. Alright. Go, nice black stain on that. Cool. Golden solution, I mean, why wouldn't there be? Alright, ferrous sulfate. I actually mixed this up last week. Really good for dropping just the gold. And it does take quite a bit to do it. That's one of the downsides, but it works. That's the upside. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Okay, that may be enough. I hope it's enough. Give that a bit of a stir. Make sure that's clean. Some of that kind of stuck to the glass stirring rod there. Okay, let's do another test. See if we got our gold out of solution. Okay, it is not out of solution. So, I don't have enough mixed up right now. So plan B, something I've never done before, is to drop some SMB in there. So that's what I'm going to go ahead and do. Because that's a very, very dark stain. There's lots of gold just hanging out right there. So, here's the SMB. I'm going to add to it and give it a drop. There we go. That may have done it. Let's do another stance test. Really hoping not to have that much fluid to deal with. I like to keep my pour off small. Do see some gold floating on top. I don't know if you guys can see that through the camera. Shot. Okay, so that's a negative stance test. Alright, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to speed date this a little bit and put it up on the heat. And we're going to get this gold to drop, and I'm going to get it in a more manageable form because I don't like having my gold in solution, right? right after the drop, and if I can get it done fast enough tonight, I'm going to go ahead and melt it into a button. But we got to get this into a pour first, or into a boil. There we go. Let's get it hot. Okay, it's 3 o'clock in the morning. I'm getting tired and losing my words, but I have boiled this, and the gold has dropped to the bottom. There's a little bit on the side of the beaker there too, so we are doing our first decanting, and then we'll do a couple hot water rinses, hydrochloric acid boils, get it nice and clean, and it's just a lot of rinse and repeat, literally rinse and repeat at this point. But the gold looks like it's in good shape. It's chunky, it's staying in place. There's literally nothing I can see that's drifting off of the mass and into the rinse container. So let's put some hot water to it real quick. There we go. And start cleaning the acids off of it. We're getting, at this point, we're getting the hydrochloric acid, any remnants of nitric, SNB, and ferrosulfate off of this. And look at that, just already the color change. So this is going to be really nice looking stuff. I mean, it's looks like a decent chunk in there. So I'm going to do that as many times as I need to be happy with the result. And I will check in with you when I'm ready for a hydrochloric acid boil. Okay, so that was about half a dozen hot water rinses, and it's cleaning up quite nicely. And as good as it looks now, let's do a hydrochloric acid boil, and you'll see it's going to be a lot better. Okay, let's look at the color. Looking good. And this is hydrochloric acid. It's going back onto the heat, and we're going to let it boil for about 5 minutes once it gets to that point. Check back in soon. Alright, moving right along. It's time to take this off. This is a hydrochloric acid boil. And definitely change colors. I'll do a quick decanting here. Oh, I don't need to. Alright. Much more caramel colored. Looking good. This is just the first. We're going to do some hot water rinses. Decant this, hot water rinses, and another hydrochloric acid boil. Okay, folks, here we are. I already know the results. I finished this project at right about 6 o'clock is when I turned the lights off in the shop, and but I'm going to show you, and this is only once refined at this point. I've just run out of time, and this video's long enough. But when I mean I run out of time, I have clients who are sending me packages weekly, so I've got to move on from taking the time to video record this one, so that I can move on to the silver portion of my client's job, and then on to other clients' jobs. So 16.24. Now, the one thing I want to say about this is when I said it was going to be an 18 to 20 gram yield, there were stones that had to be removed, which I did later, and there were some clasps that were an alloy that were not gold, pieces. So the actual maximum yield was just barely over 17 grams. And I had my wits about me and I wasn't still so tired, I would pull up the picture of that and
posted on this video too, but I have here a nearly perfect yield. I mean, it just couldn't really get much better. And will it lose a little bit of weight for the second refining? Yeah, it'll lose some because it's not possible to get a perfect yield once you put something back into solution. There is a rule of diminishing returns, but I will bet you the only numbers that will change are right here and right here to the right side of the decimal point, and it won't be by much. The last time it was less than 1/10 of a gram when I did this just last week. So all right, folks, thanks for hanging out with Micronova Metals, and on to the sterling portion of this. Take care.